How's it going, everybody? So in this video I want to talk a little bit about ketogenic metabolism, ketogenic diets, and the energy efficiency of operating under nutritional ketosis. So a lot of people don't seem to understand what takes place in the body, what type of adaptations take place, and what happens when your body switches over to using fat as fuel. I've gotten a lot of comments from people, in particular vegans, who seem to think that for some reason ketogenic dieters are not able to function without coffee, or they think that their body requires carbohydrates for energy, and like without coffee, there's no way that they're going to be able to function successfully on a ketogenic diet. And then furthermore, comments like, oh, you can't be an athlete on a ketogenic diet. You can't win championships, run marathons. Your body can't function without carbohydrates. I hear this argument all the time. And when I hear this, I know for a fact that this person has not tried a ketogenic diet, or if they have, they've done it wrong. And the reason why I know that is because these comments can only be made when you don't understand ketogenic metabolism, when you don't research ketogenic metabolism, when you don't research carbohydrate-based energy fueling versus ketogenic-based energy fueling. So first of all, your body can only store around 4,000 calories, give or take, depending on the person and the amount of carbs you eat, but on average 4,000 calories worth of energy as stored glucose. That means blood glucose, that means liver glycogen, and that means muscle glycogen. Okay? Blood glucose, liver glycogen, muscle glycogen, only 4,000 calories worth of fuel. This is why most people who eat carbohydrates as their main source of calories have to consume food every couple of hours, because they get the blood sugar is the first thing that goes away. When blood sugar goes down, refueling that blood glucose is required to continue fueling the brain at full capacity, because your body is constantly looking for that sugar, looking for that glucose, particularly in the blood, since that is what your body is adapted to at that time. That is also why athletes, especially endurance athletes and runners and football players and this and that, but particularly endurance athletes, they have to consume a certain amount of carbohydrates, like every 30 miles or something like that. Or like every hour they have to consume carbohydrates. They use gel packs, they use Cliff Bars, Gatorade, whatever it is. They have a finite energy resource in carbohydrates that they have to constantly refuel with supplements outside of themselves. So in the case of endurance athletes, and endurance events, races, you'll see like they've got like little snack tables set up every like 30 miles or something like that. Now that's carbohydrate-based metabolism, but ketogenic metabolism is like light years ahead of this carbohydrate nonsense. This is right here, 40,000 calories or more worth of energy can be stored as body fat. Okay, so carbohydrates you can only store 4,000, but body fat you can store way over 40,000 worth. So 4,000 worth of blood glucose, glycogen, and muscle glycogen. 4,000 calories is how much energy you have as a sugar burner. But when you adapt to burning fat as your primary source of fuel, body fat, endogenously, your body literally eats its own body fat to fuel itself. This is not a state of stress. This is not a state of cortisol. So this is actually, ketogenic diets upregulate GABA, which is a neurotransmitter required for relaxation. And this is actually the mechanism of action in which ketogenic diets are used to treat epilepsy and seizure disorders, which are theorized to be due to excess glutamate. This is also one of the theorized mechanisms in how ketogenic diets can be used to help people with schizophrenia, which many people don't even know. There's case reports out there, peer-reviewed case reports of patients with lifelong schizophrenia going into remission on ketogenic diets. Anyway, there are champion endurance athletes, and many athletes now are catching on to it, who are switching over to a ketogenic diet. And you can read all about this in the book The Art and Science of Low Carbohydrate Performance by Jeff Volok, PhD, and Stephen Finney, PhD. One's a nutritionist and one's a medical doctor. They have published over 100 peer-reviewed papers, and one of their papers actually shows that ketogenic diets spare leucine and other amino acids. They're protein sparing, which means, which actually the leucine sparing effects of ketogenic diets increase muscle protein synthesis. Also, they've done studies where you compare ketogenic adapted, which means, by the way, ketogenic adaptation takes around 1 month to take place. So if you've done a ketogenic diet for 2 weeks and feel like crap, it's because your body hasn't adapted yet. But after 1 month, so anyways, they did a study where they compared ketogenic marathon runners. These are Olympic level athletes, and they compared them to the carb-based endurance runners. And what they found is, number one, the ketogenic runners, they outperformed the glucose-based runners. They also didn't have to consume any carbohydrates during the race, whereas the carbohydrate-based ones did. And the ketogenic athletes actually had a faster recovery of glycogen post-exercise. So the ketogenic athletes actually recover glycogen in half the time compared to the carb-based athletes. All right, that's incredible. Again, there's somebody on my Instagram. Their name is Keto Athlete or something like that, and it's a female, and she's a CrossFitter. She's been doing CrossFit for over 10 years. She owns her own CrossFit gym, and she has a ketogenic diet. And she's been doing keto for 2 years, and she did a DEXA scan, which measured, whatever scan she did measured the amount of glucose calories that her body contained, and then measured the amount of body fat calories. And she was something like 8% body fat, but she had I think she said over 80,000 calories worth of energy in her body as body fat. And she only had 2,000 calories worth of glucose, which is pretty insane considering she doesn't even eat carbohydrates. So the point here is, okay, so yeah, ketogenic dieters, they don't have energy because they don't eat carbs. Really? We don't have over 40,000 calories worth of energy in our body fat stores that we're actually actively turning into fuel, and we're able to outperform carb burners. I personally have been following a ketogenic diet since December, so it's been about 6 months now. I do powerlifting. My lifts started going up. I had to hit a plateau for a long time. Then when I switched to keto, I don't know why, but my lifts increased every week. And I've had a steady increase in my performance in my powerlifting ever since. And then my MMA training has been taken to a whole new level. I can recover faster in between sparring rounds than I used to be able to. and I'm able to hang at a high level. I have much more stamina compared to how I used to, and everyone else is wondering what's going on. It's they think I'm taking supplements. It's pretty incredible. TJ Dillashaw was one UFC fighter actually who was saying he was on a ketogenic diet, and then there was another female fighter. She was a Muay Thai champion. I think her name was Muriyama or something. And she was using a ketogenic diet during her fight camp, I think, to cut weight, which is pretty incredible considering that's like 4 weeks before that's 8 weeks before you compete. So that's the most critical point in time. So what I'm saying here is you do have energy on a ketogenic diet. That's one of the most important benefits on a ketogenic diet. If you're actually doing it right, if you've read the basics of a ketogenic diet, or you've read just a basic keto book that explains how it works and how you're supposed to do it, you're eating enough fat, eating enough protein, and if you keep your carbs low enough, then there's no reason why you'll have any kind of decrease in energy. Also, you got to make sure you eat at least 5 grams of sodium per day. Most people, they leave rice, like they're like, oh, I eat like one meal with like rice or oatmeal, and I'm doing keto, and for some reason I feel like crap, I feel hypoglycemic. I don't understand why. I guess I just am different and need carbs. No, you crazy person. The reason why you feel hypoglycemic and don't have energy is because you never went into ketosis and your body is trying to function its best on 1 meal of carbs a day. If you eat a low carb diet, that's nothing like a ketogenic diet. Low carb diets can mean many things. 100 grams of carbs is considered a low carb diet. 100 grams of carbs is going to have extremely different effects than under 20 grams of carbs, which is a ketogenic diet. And typically vegans will use these studies on low carb diets increasing risk of death. And you look at the study, and the low carb diet they're talking about is 100 grams of carbs, is like over 100 grams of carbs per day. I've seen some that say 200 grams of carbs per day is a low carb diet, and they're using that as an example. Like, wow, that's crazy. That has nothing to do with ketogenic diets or their health effects. Anyway, your body becomes incredibly efficient at energy. I can fast way longer and exercise multiple times during fasting. Typically, I'll fast anywhere from 16 hours, which is the easiest, to 22 hours on average. And during this fast, I'll do jiu-jitsu, I'll do long-distance bicycling, I'll do some sparring or kickboxing, and I might also do weightlifting, Olympic weightlifting or powerlifting. And I don't need to eat afterwards because my body is already repairing itself. It's sparing glycogen, it's sparing protein and leucine, and it has greater muscle protein synthesis. Not to mention the food you eat the night before is the food that's going to be fueling you the next day, so eating after exercise isn't really going to help anyway. Unless you're running on glucose, the only thing that's going to be beneficial to eating after exercise is refueling your blood sugar so you don't die of hypoglycemia, which is something that used to happen to me all the time. My energy used to suck on a ketogenic diet, or on a low carb diet, or on a high carb diet. When I used to eat carbs, I was always hangry, I was always irritable, I had so much brain fog, and I mean, I ate like mostly green leafy vegetables and low glycemic load carbohydrates. I would eat white rice and bananas because, well, for one, I can't digest all these whole grains, and number two, I was exercising so vigorously. It's crazy how I'm not eating any carbs now. I'm doing long amounts of intermittent fasting. I have way more energy not eating anything now for 22 hours, exercising 3 times during this fast. At a high level, we're talking competitive martial arts. And soon, and eventually when I get my strength back up, I'll be doing competitive powerlifting too. I'm not eating anything until like later in the day. And even at that, I eat like half the calories that I burn. My Fitbit says right now I've burnt about 3,000 calories today, and it's 10 p.m., so I have 2 more hours. And I've probably only eaten like 1,000, maybe 1,500 calories. So, yeah, right. No energy on a ketogenic diet. You need to do some research. My body is constantly being fueled. It's got a never-ending amount of calories from its own body fat. That's the thing. Okay? Oh, you need carbs for energy. Actually, no. If you follow a strict ketogenic diet for 1 month straight, because that's how long it takes for you to be fully keto adapted, you will find constant energy like nothing else. You're no longer going to need to eat during the day. You're not going to need to constantly refuel your blood glucose. You won't have these ups and downs of brain fog. Also, I can actually sleep for 4 hours now and be completely fine. I can do all these, I can fast and do all this stuff on 4 hours of sleep now. Why is that? And my girlfriend has found the same thing, and many other people. I believe the reason why so many people need greater than 6 hours of sleep a day, they need 8 hours, 10 hours of sleep. Oh, the science says you're going to die if you don't get this much. It's probably because you're sick. It's probably because all these carbohydrates are weighing your body down, and your body needs time to like recover from this constant up and down of insulin and stress hormones. Not to mention you probably have way more serotonin, which will make you feel tired and hibernation essentially. So yeah, I mean, essentially ketogenic diets make you turn you into a superhuman. Your entire body, your entire life is now running on like full, it's literally like steroids. It's crazy. Like your everything is so much more efficient. So, I mean, all these people, they come up with these crazy ideas. Oh, like your thyroid, you're going to have thyroid disorder. Oh, the reason why you're so energetic is because the cortisol levels are high. You know, first of all, I've seen so many ketogenic dieters that think coffee and caffeine are horrible for you, and so they don't drink coffee. The vast majority of them are trendy keto dieters, so that do drink coffee. I drink coffee all the time. I love it. But I used to drink more caffeine when I was eating carbs, and I was much more tired. And I've done many experiments, and what I found is it's like regardless of caffeine intake, I have more energy. Yeah, I've said so much already. Like this whole idea that ketogenic diets rob your body of energy and this and that is ridiculous. People try to come up with ways to debunk ketogenic diets, and I've seen people like, oh, the only reason why you do so well on a carnivore diet is because you drink coffee and eat mucuna. Like you have these you have like one plant food in your diet, and that's the only reason you're surviving. Otherwise, you die of scurvy and carbohydrate deficiency. Like, wow, that's your justification. I drink coffee once in the morning and take a mucuna supplement. Like, I don't even take a mucuna supplement anymore. And that's why I'm still alive, huh? Is that the same reason why Owsley the Bear Stanley lived over 50 years on a carnivore diet and then died of a car accident at the age of 76? Because he might have eaten an orange like once a year? Crazy. Anyway, leave your questions in the comments down below. This is hilarious. It's crazy. Like, when people comment on my thing and they're like, their beliefs are challenged, I love reading the crazy justifications they come up with. The only reason why you're still alive is because you drink coffee. If my body needed carbohydrates for energy, remember, that means your brain needs to be fueled by these carbs. That means your heart needs to be fueled by carbs. I would die if carbohydrates were necessary. Coffee's not going to make up for a deficiency of a vital nutrient. Okay? Try not eating protein for a month and just drinking coffee. I'm pretty sure you'll end up like Eugene Cooney. Yeah, leave your questions, comments down below. Let me know what you think. Have you had problems with the ketogenic diet? Have you had energy problems? Let me know, and I will help you guys do better.